Hiya! Welcome! I'm recording this on Saturday the 21st of June. Just checking my smartwatch there. Yes, that's the date. It's just before midday. I'm still drinking my morning coffee and it's almost the afternoon. And I just thought today, while I had some time, I would do like a general sort of sit down chat, channel update sort of thing. Something that I've not done in absolutely ages. By the way, if you hear any kind of traffic noises or anything like that, I've just left my window open. Normally I close my windows when I'm filming videos, but with this one being kind of informal and not something I'm worried too much about regarding the high or low quality of audio, I thought I'm going to leave it open. And it's a bloody hot day again. I think the temperature's supposed to rise round here anyway to 29 today, and I know it's going to push 30 or more in other parts of the country. Yes, and I know there's going to be Americans watching who'll be like, what's he on about 30? Well, that's degrees Celsius. That's about as hot as we can really stand it. Well, it's hotter than I can stand it, really. You know, anything above 20 and I'll start being uncomfortable. But anyway, not to go on about the weather. So yeah, this video, and you'll notice I've not edited it to within an inch of its life like I normally do with my content, as I want this to be sort of, you know, kind of freewheeling really, and more like a, almost as if you're kind of watching me live, which I know you won't be. This isn't a live video. I will talk about live streaming later on. I've made some notes about what I want to talk about today. Well, I wanted to do this update. I used to do these updates relatively regularly, well, maybe every 3 months or so, for patrons some years ago. And, you know, they're only watched by patrons. They were unlisted YouTube videos. And I just shared the link in my Patreon chat group, and you know, that was just for them really. But this one is just one I'm putting out on the channel. So if you're a subscriber, or even if you just come across me and you've never seen my beautiful face before, then you know, you're free to watch it, and you're free not to watch it, because this might end up being boring for people. Hopefully not. I'm going to try and keep it interesting. So yeah, I used to do this kind of thing, just sort of updated about my life and my plans for the channel and stuff, and it's been so long, years really, since I've done anything like that. I thought I'd do one today really. Just going back to Patreon, obviously in every video I do thank not only people for watching the video and for all my subscribers, but also I mention the patrons as well, and I've got my end screen that you'll see at the end of this video as well, where the regular recurring patrons get shouted out individually as well. Well, not shouted out, but you see the names on screen. I'll admit the Patreon stuff has stalled really, as in, you know, getting new ones, and you know, I'm not someone who has to mention it all the time. There's channels who will just plug it, and yeah, it might work for them, and then there's others that I know, you know, I'm thinking, why waste your time? Like, no one's gonna join it, and I'm probably in that category for a lot of people. But I have still got some regulars, and even the ones who kind of dropped off, I'm still appreciative of the support, the extra support they gave me over the years. So what I will say, and you know, I'll get the hard sell out of the way before we move on to other business. But if you feel you can support the channel in a sort of financial sense, then the link is always in every video description, apart from the shorts. I never bother with a video description for them, but I don't release too many shorts. I'm still not a big fan. They're all right for promoting upcoming videos for me, and that's all I use it for really. But the link for Patreon is always in the video description, the text box, and it's like, I think it still starts from $1 a month, and then $2 a month. I always add your name to the end screen, and you know, you can do it for however long you want and drop off, come back. Patreon, the actual website, the company themselves are awful at kind of informing me who is and isn't supporting me that way, really. So I kind of have to do a bit of guesswork, but you know, it should notify me when someone new joins. So if you want to do that, I mean, you know the amount of work that I do on this channel. I don't get monetized by YouTube themselves. I did once upon a time, if you can call it that, and I never got any money for it because they decided that I was using too much copyrighted content right before I was due to get a payout from them, and I never got that money. I've told this story to people before. It just seemed a real coincidence. The sort of conspiracy theorist in me thought, oh, it's funny that like they're about to deposit £60 into my bank account, and at £58.50 they suddenly demonetised me. But I understand, you know, they didn't have to monetise me in the first place, really. I was using a lot of copyrighted content back then, music clips and mainly. And I still use a lot now, so, you know, I've got no issue with them deciding that. It's just sort of the timing of it, and why would they monetise me in the first place? But anyway, so yeah, it does help a little bit towards whatever, just, you know, paying the bills kind of thing, really. And also, and it doesn't get mentioned hardly either, but if you just want to make a one-off donation to the channel, then there is a PayPal link always in every video as well. I've had one or two people do that before, and those of you who are watching who know who you are, I appreciate that. Just kind of like a one-off thing. I've just suddenly had an email saying such and such has sent you X amount of money via PayPal, and then there's just been a little note saying thank you for your YouTube content, sort of thing, and that's appreciated as well. So that's just a couple of ways to donate to the channel if you want to. I'm not going to stop doing stuff if people don't give me, you know, $1, $2 or whatever a month, or a one-off thing of £10 or whatever it might be. It's, you know, I'm still going to carry on. You know, it's not about money. It's just, you know, it does help, but it's not essential. It's just kind of, it's almost a habit, really, with Patreon. You know, I've been on it for so long now. I'm just going to keep it rolling. I don't really like the system and how it works, but, you know, I haven't really come across anything better so far. So moving on, I've got my list here in front of me. Household stuff, it says. So yeah, I've had a bit of work being done in my flat, my apartment. It started out with some new units for my records. It had got to the point where I was just buying these flight cases to put like 100 records at a time in, and in this property, which is so small, you know, I was having nowhere to properly store these flight cases, and, you know, they weren't display ones, you know, they were just, you know, these big. I've got one under my table here that's quite handy because it's just out of the way under a table. It was just starting to look like less like a home and more like a sort of storage unit, really. So at some point I decided I need to get some proper record shelves up. So I ordered a couple of Calyx units from IKEA, and then I paid extra for someone to come and build them, because me and DIY just do not mix. And I know, you know, people are going to watch this and think, oh, those are really easy to put up, but I wanted them attached because there's like one unit, sort of 2 cubes by 2, and then one with just 2 cubes, like 1 by 2, I suppose, and I wanted them sort of attached together, and, you know, so it was a bit more complicated than it, you know, probably needed to be, really. But the guy from TaskRabbit is the company that IKEA in the UK use if you want anything that you've purchased from IKEA assembled. Really nice, quick process. You pay for your stuff, you click on the box, pay extra for TaskRabbit assembly, and then you find out your date when your furniture or your units, whatever it is getting delivered, and then usually it's a couple of days later, or you can choose like what time each hour that you want your TaskRabbit guy to come and assemble it. So yeah, I've got my Calyx units. I've put a photo up, ignored that horrible mucky carpet that did get vacuumed right after that photo was taken, and there's also a photo of how it looks after, which obviously that was after I'd finished putting a lot of records in on the shelves. Really happy with it. It's lovely and sturdy. The depth of it is great. You know, it means I can put I've put box sets and stuff on top. You know, I've got I'll just pick one up here. One of my boxes of 7-inch singles. There's 3 of these on here now. One of them is quite bigger than that, actually. It fits more in, and I've got a few DVDs there. So it looks a little bit different now to the photo that I've just put up, but I'm delighted, and that meant I bought something else from IKEA. So I'll take a photo and put it up now of an old, like, I suppose really it's a bookcase with a glass door, but I just call it like a media unit or DVD unit. And I've had that for years, and it was quite cheap. And as you can see, it also has got my record player on top. And the shelves in it, I mean, the back of it is sort of like that really thin plyboard stuff, and it's just sort of falling out, and it's old and it's on its last legs, and I wanted something newer and sturdier. So before you're watching this, but it'll be after obviously that I've done this video, I've got another IKEA delivery coming in, that's coming this Monday, actually, the 23rd. And that one, well, what's the name of the product? I did write that down a few days ago. Eket, I think. Eket, E-K-E-T. And it's nice. It's like a sort of thin, not particularly wide unit, but it's tall enough, and it's got like another sort of Kallax style cube on top of it. Although one with a back, Kallax units don't tend to have the backs to them, but this one on the Eket does. And then someone's going to come and assemble that for me on the Wednesday, which is my birthday, actually, the 25th. So yeah, that's how I'm spending my birthday, watching a kind gentleman from TaskRabbit assemble a unit that will probably take him all of about 5 minutes. The guy who came to do these Kallax units here, like, that didn't take him long. Even like with his extra, he's sort of like drilling into from one unit to the other so that you can attach them properly and things like that, so that it looks more like a complete thing rather than 2 separate things. So yeah, IKEA have had a bit of business out of me of late. That's the changes in this room, which is kind of the room I spend most of my life in, really. You know, it's got my TV, it's got my hi-fi record player. Now it's got some nice record shelves in. There is still flight cases. There's a couple in my bedroom. As I say, there's a big one under this table, and then there's a smaller one just sort of behind this table here. And there's also, which I think you saw in a picture earlier, like a big wooden crate that I kind of wanted to try and get rid of, but I didn't have enough space in the Kallax to put those records elsewhere. So, and also totally irrelevant from the channel, but just thought I'd mention it. But I did have my bathroom completely remodeled and redone a few weeks ago. It's beautiful now. I mean, my bathroom before was kind of a bit grim, and you know, I'd tried to tart it up a little bit over the years and, you know, make the best of it, and it was functional. The people who worked for the landlord, they came round just to kind of sort out some sort of drainage issue round the back, and then they were thinking that a lot of it was caused by my bathroom, like a leak from my bathtub or something like that. So they were sort of having a look at the bathroom, and they just said, you know what, we're just gonna gut this and start over from scratch. And you know, they were so quick about it, and the job they've done, I can't fault them. Yeah, I'm getting a rent increase from the 1st of August, I think, which was probably inevitable, but hopefully there'll be kind of a video clip on screen just kind of showing you what change. Well, you won't see the before, but that'll be the after. I mean, it's quite an old clip now, so everything's sort of still sort of fresh and unused there. But I'm delighted, you know, I've got a massive walk-in shower now. Just I have no bathtub anymore, which is fine because I've never been a fan of taking baths anyway. I like a stand-up shower. I'm a shower guy, not a bath guy. So that kind of delayed me with channel stuff, not massively, because I've always got stuff that I've done ages ago and it's been scheduled. But it just meant for sort of, what was it, 4 days, I think. That's all it took, 4 days. There was a lot of workmen coming in and out, and there's electricians that needed to sort out my new electric shower as well, and a new extractor fan and things like that. Got a new toilet, also some new furniture because everything just got rusty in there because it's just the damp and everything. You know, new paint job. I feel like I'm banging on about this for ages, but I do love my new bathroom, I have to say. It's just made living in this place just like that much better now because, you know, I've got a bathroom that I can actually go in and it's like, wow, this is, you know, everything's modern. They even gave me some new kitchen taps they installed, which, you know, I wasn't expecting. And obviously I've got a new sink unit and things in the bathroom as well. So delighted with all that, and you know, I was able to do the weekend where I think they started on the Wednesday, and then they were here pretty much all day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then they had the weekend off, which was great because I was able to do some filming and editing. And then they came back on Monday, and by the time the electrician left on Monday evening, it was all done, you know, and it was just done to such a high standard. I wouldn't like to think what they spent on it, to be honest. My mother, you know, who's jealous of my new bathroom, she reckons between £5,000 and £7,000 they spent on just doing up my bathroom, and I can believe it. And it's all good quality stuff as well, but it needed to be because all the other stuff was old, mouldy. You know, it'd been there before I moved in, and I've been living here since 2013, so, you know, it needed doing, really. Anyway, that's the Carsey update. Channel news, upcoming videos, the ones that I've done, I've edited, they're scheduled now. The Within Temptation vinyl haul, that'll either be coming in a few days, or you might have seen it a few days ago. It depends what day I put this video out. I might swap them around, so either that one's been my most recent, or that's the next one coming in a few days' time. There's another chart show reaction coming in July. I managed to get a few of those done in early May, so there's one in July and there's actually another one in August. The dates, they're not set in stone because it depends on what other things come around. So they might be moved slightly, you know, from 1 week to the next, but, you know, one's going to be in July and one's going to be in August. Mini Disc Monday, there's 4 coming in July. It's a special themed month. I won't say any more because I like some things to be a surprise. Just finish this coffee. I'm just here yapping, and this coffee's been sat here for like probably over an hour now. Yeah, stone cold really, but I'll still drink it. Waste not, want not. So yeah, special themed weekly editions of Mini Disc Monday coming throughout July. That'll start on, is it July the 7th or something, the first Monday in July anyway, so very soon. And videos that I've got planned to shoot but I've not started filming yet. Maybe I've done a little bit of pre-editing or prep work. Hopefully there'll be, or almost certainly there'll be, a records roundup coming at some point in July. Can't say exactly when, but you know, I've got a lot of purchases and still waiting for stuff in the post, so that's going to come along. There'll be another Joy Division / New Order related video. I know they keep coming. I think like I've done the last one, and then there's I buy more stuff. That should be done fairly soon, I think, because I think I'm only really waiting for one more record to come. and then I'll probably do that. That might be a shorter one maybe than some of the previous ones, which I know certain viewers will be pleased about. But then there's a couple of records that are on order somewhere, and God knows when they're going to come, if at all. So if I wait for them, I could be waiting till August or longer. So yeah, I'll probably just consider them coming when they come, and I'll wait for this one record that I know should be on its way in a matter of days, and then get that filmed, and that'll be along quite soon. And a video that it's really literally in sort of like the mental planning stages at the moment, but it's one that I alluded to briefly at the end of the Within Temptation haul video, where I really want to do like a ranking of my all-time favourite bands, and do it in kind of my style, where rather than me sat here talking, I'll probably just show clips and then give a little bit of information about what I've got in my collection, sort of thing. And I think it's probably going to have to be a top 50, I would have thought, but I've literally not even started properly planning it, because I need to write my list out and swap things around numerous times before I'm remotely happy. I'll just have a vape while I'm sat here. So that one, I can't say exactly when that'll be coming. I'd like to think I will have done it and it'll be out some point in July. But I don't know, that's something, because it's going to take a lot of editing, a lot of planning, so depends how lazy I am or not lazy really. But that is something that I intend to do at some point this year, sooner the better really, because I would like to think that I'd do something similar for solo artists. Probably wouldn't be as big a chart. That maybe be top 30, top 40, I don't know. But I'm running before I can walk here. It's the top 50 bands or groups, and that will include duos as well, by the way. That's going to be like a sort of bigger project for me to start working on. I'll start working on it, soon. I'll get all the planning done at least. So that's what's coming in July and beyond, and maybe there'll be other things that crop up. So on to purchase news, and this does tie in with the channel news, because some weeks ago when it was announced, and I initially thought, no, I can't warrant paying that, but then I had real FOMO, and I did post a screenshot on my community page. Do they still call it that on YouTube? I think they just call it posts now, don't they? I bought the Beatles in mono box set, the re-released vinyl set. I've already got the CD sets, which I love, and I'm probably going to keep. I've thought about selling it just to offset the cost of this vinyl set. I got a lot of comments on that post, which I get, obviously. People just kind of shocked that I could spend so much money, and it stung a little bit. I have offset some of the cost. I sold some Funko Pops that I wasn't that interested in having anymore. I made £200, which is half the value really, but I've got a contact in Nottingham who's a nice guy, and he runs his own business, so I just sell to him when I want to sell in bulk really. And he gives me kind of 50% value, and then he'll sell them on and make a profit. Everyone's happy really, and I get to clear a bit of space and then make a bit of money on a hobby that I wasn't really going to talk about Funko in this video, but there's so little I collect in that range now. I do still get stuff, and you will see the occasional Funko video on this channel. But it's really the wrestlers, the WWE pops that I want now, and pretty much nothing else. There might be the occasional music one that comes out, the pop rocks as they call them. But yeah, so I sold some stuff just to kind of pay off a bit extra on the credit card that took a hammering for the Beatles in mono set. Of course, I will be doing an unboxing video of the Beatles in mono box. it's out. I'll have put a screenshot up at some point during this that might have the release date on it and the price. It's mid-July sometime, innit? I'll try and get that video up as not literally the day it comes out, but you know, within a day or two of me having received it, I'll try and film it quickly and get it up. Even though there'll be a ton of other unboxing videos talking about that, you know, I'll feel a bit kind of, oh well, if I just kind of, because when I get a box set, I always like to, you know, big box set, I always like to do a dedicated video to it, and this Beatles in mono is no exception. It's just there's going to be a lot of them, so people who might be all Beatles in monoed out by the time mine comes along, maybe a day or two after. If you don't want to watch that, I understand. But that's what I'll try and get out fairly quickly. It'll be like a day or two after the release date, or after I've got it, because I don't know, I'll definitely get it on release date. I hope I'll get it on the day of release, or if not before, but it might be afterwards. You can't tell with these things really until the time comes. Other purchases, I've been buying a lot of Blu-rays lately. I did a couple of videos about them, mainly about stuff I bought from HMV and little bits from eBay and Flashback Records as well. But Blu-rays is something, I like to do videos on them occasionally, but I'm not a film channel or a DVD Blu-ray collecting channel. You know, I'm mainly vinyl / music, so I like to show everything that I've got music related. But as far as films go, I tend to just do videos occasionally as and when. This isn't the whole lot actually, this is just the biggest handful that I could grab. Some of these, as you can see, the majority of them are still in the cellophane. Some of these were shown and mentioned in the last BFI haul video, but there's some in there that I've bought since, and I've already watched, really. So I'm not going to pick the other lot up, but there's still a good, what, 15 to 20 odd there in my to watch pile. But I'm really loving collecting BFI Blu-rays at the moment, the flip side editions especially, and I've got other stuff. Right, so although it's under purchase news, it says lack of computer. Right, so yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about why I haven't got a PC or a Mac anymore. My MacBook, which I used really only for live streaming, I gave that, I mean, I wiped it so that it was like brand new out of the box, but I, you know, reset it and gave it to my youngest daughter for Christmas. You know, she's doing her GCSEs now, and you know, she loves it, and I was never that keen on it. On the operating system, which is weird because I love Apple products generally, you know, my phone, iPad, watch, but MacBook, I just could never really get on with it very well. And although my initial intention was to replace it with a half decent Windows laptop, I haven't, and I've just not really felt the need that I want to, really, because I'm still not really interested in going back to live streaming. I mean, I can live stream, I can use my phone, I can use my iPad. Doing stuff like screen sharing is always an issue on those sort of devices, so. But I've not been in the mood to, you know, restart the old Sodcast or do any other live streams. And if, like, the rare occasion now that I might be a guest on someone's, and I might be able to touch on that a little bit more later, I could just use my phone or iPad because it's at the, you know, it's at the stream host's end if they want to do any screen sharing or not. So that's not anything to do with me. If I could, you know, I could just be a guest, and it's very simple to do it on my iPad, really. I'm not intending to get a computer, I don't think. You know, if like some amazing deal jumped out at me somewhere and the specs looked right, then never say never. And then, you know, having that might kind of make me think, oh yeah, okay, maybe I'll start doing the occasional live thing. I did a video probably about a year ago, actually, just talking about my feelings about live streaming in general, particularly in context of the vinyl community. And You know, some things have changed, some things have got better, some things have got worse, really, but that's not what this video is about. I don't want to get into all that and get bogged down in that hornet's nest. Also, another reason why I don't really want a computer, I mean, a laptop's fine because it's just, you know, portable, I can move it around, but there is a planned purchase that I want to make. It's out for pre-order. I've not pre-ordered it yet. It's expensive. It's not Beatles in mono expensive, but it's still, you know, a lot of money for me to pay out. It's something quite big and bulky, and something that I'll want sort of in a permanent position on my table here. And I think it'll look cool in like my Instagram photos and stuff when I'm showing like my records, CDs, Blu-rays, etc. And then I've got this item in the background. I mean, that's not the foremost reason I want it. I want it because it serves a function, and I'm going to enjoy using it. I don't want to say what it is in case I don't manage to get one, or I change my mind or something, but my intention is to get that, but it's not out till November, so near the end of the year. And I've not even pre-ordered it yet anyway. The pre-order price is a little bit cheaper than what the normal purchase price will be, so I really ought to pre-order it if I definitely want it. And I'm leaning towards, yes, I do want this when it comes out. But this all sounds very mysterious and confusing because I'm not giving enough info, but you'll see what it is. Certainly if I get it and it arrives in November, Instagram followers of mine, and that'll be mainly the Jimmy Barnes Plays account, by the way, which I always call my secondary account, but it's the one I enjoy using. My main account at the Jimmy Barnes, all that is really is for YouTube promotion, and like I keep a tally of my Letterboxd scores in there as well. Letterboxd, the movie social media thing. I'll put a link for my Letterboxd in the description actually, as I don't think there is one generally, but I'll put one in for this. I follow a few people who I know on there, and they haven't followed back. You know, some have, and others haven't. So I don't know, you know, either they just don't really care what films I'm watching. But it's fun to kind of score things after I've watched them, and then share that score on my Instagram storyline. A friend of mine, Lee, aka the Pop Tart, who used to do a lot of YouTube, he kind of got me into Letterboxd really. So thank you, Tarty, for that. Hopefully you're watching. And that's a bit of a shout out really, which is quite appropriate because I want to do some channel recommendations now. I always feel a bit funny about shouting out or recommending specific channels, because then the ones who you're not shouting out might get offended, but you know, it's don't get offended is my brilliant advice. You know, easier said than done perhaps for some people, but you know, I appreciate anyone I subscribe to and watch regularly. You know, there's channels that I could shout out that don't need recommendations because they've got, you know, over 1 million subscribers and they have multiples of thousands of views on every video. But I love them anyway. And there's absolutely tiny channels that I enjoy just as much. I've picked kind of, well, it's sort of 3 really here, but I suppose it's 3/4. But first of all, I'll mention, and I mention him a lot, but he's become a really good friend of mine and a really great supporter for me on YouTube and on Instagram as well. And I love his Instagram as well as his YouTube channel. That is, of course, Martin Harris. I wanted to mention Martin specifically in this video, even though I mentioned him in others as well. So I'm just so it was just a bit weird that my mic was kind of hanging onto my, not hanging onto my skin, but hanging over there like that. I don't like this vest very much. It's got all these like really meaningless sort of big logos and words on them, but it's hot and I didn't want to wear sleeves and this was clean. So anyway, Martin Harris, sorry. Yeah, I'll mention him just because, you know, and he has more subs than me and definitely more viewers than me, and rightly so really. You know, he's just natural and his record collecting is just fascinating and in depth, and he loves his music as much as anyone I've ever met. But he started doing these, and I really like them, these little videos where he buys like a bulk box of trading cards off eBay, I think, and then he'll unwrap them, you know, like open each pack, and it's just a real nice, relaxing kind of video. And you know, he likes to get the ones where you can hopefully get autographs and special limited edition cards within them. And yeah, they're just really nice to kind of just chill to, those videos. I mean, Martin's channel's kind of like that anyway. It's, you know, it's not sort of high octane. You know, it's all kind of chilled out, really. But you know, it's just sort of, I don't know. It's, you know, that kind of slow TV concept that became popular within the last sort of 10 to 15 years, where, you know, BBC Four would show things where it'd be like an hour sort of travel log, and it'd be mainly kind of a real sedate canal boat ride or ship ride or something like that. You know, that for me is like the sort of YouTube equivalent, really. Just Martin opening packs of trading cards. It's just, and it's good. You know, I like his excitement when he gets an autograph and when he gets a limited edition card and stuff like that. So yeah, I thought I'd mention those specifically because, you know, that's something relatively new that Martin. I mean, he's doing it a couple of months or more now. So yeah, Martin Harris. I'll leave a link for anyone I mention in this sort of recommendation section in the description. Please go and check out the description. It's got all my usual stuff in there. As I say, the recommendations of, for, you know, these channel links, and also my, if I remember to, my Letterboxd social media link. If you're a film buff and you want to follow me on there, I will certainly follow back. Also, I want to mention Wayno's World of Pop. Wayno, I've known him for a long time now, lovely guy. His channel, you know, I'm sure he won't think I'm speaking out of turn here when I say, you know, he does struggle for views. He's got a fair few, he's got a few hundred subscribers now, I think, or a couple of hundred at least. And he does have, you know, regular viewers out there, but it's kind of people who know him, really. You know, he does a lot of Funko stuff. There again, that's not really what I was sitting down to talk about today, but I wanted to give Wayno a mention because I really like his travel-related videos. He goes on a lot of interesting holidays, and many of these trips that he takes with his wife, Sarah, he'll, you know, film a lot of footage for them. And just nice, chilled content, really, you know, and you can see, you know, what it's like at foreign hotels in foreign beaches and things like that. You know, he tries to sort of do a video or get some clips on most of the holidays he goes on, and he seems to go on like 2 or 3 a year, I think. So if you go to his channel and you look back at kind of all his travel videos, I mean, there's one from Las Vegas that's really good, and you know, you can see him playing on the slots in Vegas, and it's fantastic. That one's probably a couple of years old now. Just had to pause recording there. My mother came in just to let me know her and my daughters were back from the hairdressers. So yeah, what was I saying? Wayno's World of Pop. Yeah, big recommendation if you like travel and holiday vlogs, that kind of thing. And the last person I want to shout out, but really I suppose it's 2 channels in particular that I'm mentioning, is a guy who I've known now for about 20 years, a really good friend of mine. And he started his original YouTube channel just before the first lockdown in 2020. And now he's got like 5 channels. I think he's probably planning more. And that's Nick Tyrrell, good friend of mine from up on the Wirral. And I want to make special mention of his fairly recent channel, Vlog Central, or TNTN Vlog Central, because he likes to brand all his stuff within the Nick Tyrrell network, or TNTN. And you know, he's visited some great places and got some really great footage and photos around sort of the Merseyside, Cheshire area. I'm hoping that I might be able to get to meet with Nick again. I've met him in real life a few times. We've been to wrestling shows together. I've stayed at his house many years ago. But we've not met up in person for a long time. I'm hoping I might be able to get up to Liverpool, because that's his nearest city, and I want to go because I love Liverpool, one of my favourite cities in this country, and I want to explore the record shops. I'm hoping possibly I might get to do that end of July into August, possibly. I've said I'm going to aim to get my train ticket and my hotel room very soon, so that might have happened by the time this video comes out. Not the trip, but me having prepared, booked everything. It'll be great if I can meet up with Nick, and whether he might want to do anything on that day for Vlog Central, that's up to him. Whether I'll film anything, that's the thing. I like to do kind of event type videos where I've been to a gig, like Cyndi Lauper I went to earlier in the year, Pet Shop Boys I went to, that was a bit over a year ago now. Other things in Strict Confidence, other events like Comic Cons and things. Generally I tend to just sort of give a bit of a recap afterwards, because I just don't tend to want to film while I'm out and about. Generally, I might take the odd photo and do little clips in, when it's a concert kind of thing, but usually those sort of videos from me are kind of after the fact. So whether I'll be sort of doing any vlogging, as in, at the time, if and when I get to Liverpool, I'm not sure. I'll just play it by ear, decide what I fancy doing on the day, really. The main thing is just to catch up with Nick, and then, he's going to hopefully show me where, the good record shops are in Liverpool. And I know there is, there's some obvious ones that I've ordered from online. There's like Dig Vinyl, there's Jacaranda. There's HMV, but HMV is kind of the same everywhere you go, really. But there'll be other ones that, have got either no online presence, or that, I just haven't come across. And I'm hoping I can find some hidden gems, really. So, yeah, it's going to be kind of a sort of record shop tour / just meet up with an old friend, really, for me. If I get to Liverpool, like I say, late July, early August is what I'm aiming for. So, I would like to think there'll be some sort of video relating to that coming out from me. And as I say, whether Nick will want to do anything for Vlog Central or not, that's that's going to be up to him, really. Also relating to Nick, he recently revived his previously dormant Mersey Blue podcast YouTube channel, which is his Everton football. He's a massive Everton fan. His Everton football coverage channel. He's rebooted it. He's got a channel sponsor for it now. Men's mental health charity. I'm just trying to remember the name. I'll put it on screen. He's done sort of a couple of intro videos on it, and there's going to be some pre-season stuff. And then come August, when the 25-26 football season starts, there's going to be a lot of Everton match coverage. Now, obviously, I'm not an Everton fan, but I will be involved in the Mersey Blue podcast at least a couple of times this season, or next season, however you want to say it, because I'll be joining Nick on there for the coverage of the Everton versus Nottingham Forest matches. So I'll be the Forest expert, which is quite laughable in and of itself. But it's just great to sort of get involved. I don't think anything's going to be live. It's going to be all pre-recorded, I think. Nick's going to give me more information as we get closer to the the fixtures and things like that, and let me know what he expects of me. I know he's got high hopes for the MVP, as he calls it. I remember it in its original form. I sub to it because I sub to everything that Nick does. He's just one of my oldest and closest friends, and I like to support him, and I think he does brilliant work. The planning he puts into all his YouTube channels puts me to shame. I thought I was one who liked to sort of plan ahead, but Nick, he takes it to another level. So look out for me, and I'll obviously sort of maybe do a little bit of added promotion on my YouTube post / community feed when the time comes, to saying, oh look, I'm on the Mersey Blue podcast with Nick. And I know he's got other people involved, friends of his. I think he's even got an American correspondent who's going to be able to cover some of Everton's US pre-season tour, I think. That might have even started by the time you're watching this, I don't know. So yeah, not an Everton fan. Forest are my team, but You know, it'd be good that, you know, he's going to get a rival fan's perspective for at least a couple, and I think he's hoping that there'll be other, you know, football fans of different Premier League clubs that he'll be able to get onto the show once or twice a season. So yeah, that's going to be something interesting. So kind of a, you know, a dip in the toe of sort of podcasting, I suppose. YouTubing, podcasting, it's all sort of part of the same new media, really, isn't it? So I'll leave a link for Vlog Central and for the Mersey Blue podcast as well in the description text box. So as I've said already, please look at the description. If you're on your TV, if you're watching this on your TV, obviously you can't really get it, or you can't, you know, you certainly can't click any links that way. So just go on, you know, your web browser or your phone or tablet app and have a look, and any interesting links from me and relating to anything that I've mentioned in this video, then please check them out. So I think that's probably all I want to say. This one I think's gone on for a long time. There won't be much editing in this, so yeah, if you stuck with me till the bitter end, I really do appreciate that. You know, let me know what you think of this sort of thing. This isn't the sort of thing I'll be doing regular. It was kind of almost on a whim, really. I thought, I've got some things I want to talk about, some updates and what have you, so let's do this. But, you know, it could be months and months before I want to do something like this again. Obviously, if anything really important crops up, then I'll just put a video out about that thing, whatever, you know, good news or bad news, whatever it might be. But sort of a general ramble chunter on, then you know, whether this will be the start of something semi-regular or not, so, you know, that's up to you, really. Well, it's not, it's up to me, but, you know, if you think this is kind of boring and just too self-indulgent, then let me know. You know, everyone's entitled to their opinion, and I take all opinions on board. So yeah, that's it from me for this one. If you have watched it all, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learnt a little bit about my life in the sort of past few weeks, month or so, and also, you know, plans that I've got coming up. And of course, check out all the channels that I've mentioned today. All good friends of mine, and they really put their heart and soul into their YouTube content. So enjoy the videos that are coming up on this here channel, Jimmy Barnes. Thank you everyone who's also followed me on either or both of my Instagram accounts. That's always appreciated. Always massive love and thanks to my subscribers, every single one, and generous patrons, of course. You know, I would love there to be more, but I'm not rattling a tin cup here. It's not me getting the begging bowl out. You know, people either want to donate or they don't, and I don't judge either way. So, you know, I'll just leave that as an option for those who may or may not be interested. So I'm going to stop talking now. I'm going to go and get some lunch. It's a Saturday, so it's a curry night for me tonight. So that's yeah, that's always the best meal of the week for me. As you know, I'm a bit of an Indian food nerd. So I'm going to go ahead and leave you all now and say thank you again for watching, and please join me again very soon for my next video. Cheers everyone. See ya!